Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of F100 Shenanigans. As you can see from the start of the clip, big chunk of floor came out yesterday. I'm working on getting this engine sitting in the right place so I can set up the engine mounts. So the floor had to be adjusted to get that trans in the right place. So that's come out. I've got a bit of a plan. It's just sitting back in there for now. I've got a bit of a plan for how I want to do this for. So I want to do some more cutting. So I'll get changed out of this stuff and I'll get into it. So the current plan, now I've cut these out, is to try and maintain some form of factory appearance. Where my thumb is where the trans was sitting. So I want to put that back in with enough clearance for the trans on that side. And you can see that centre line down near the middle of the truck. And this piece, I'll move this over as well to suit. But because the trans tunnels are fairly wide on these trucks, I plan on narrowing it as much as possible to suit the trans, just enough clearance for the trans. And putting that back in place, and then using the new floor pans to fill the gaps and replace the shitty floor. There's a bit of work there, but if I can maintain the factory appearance, the factory bends, I won't put the inspection cover back on, but I'll have a nice curved cover made. And of course the tail shafts will be coming through the floor, probably through all of it, so there'll be a tunnel through here as well. So that's the current plan. Nice narrow tunnel. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. But for now, take these out, I'll clean up underneath a little bit, bolt the steering brake back in, and drop the engine in where it's supposed to go. And then we'll have another look at the stuff. So these are the Tuffmounts, obviously. This is the universal kit for 7.3 litre Godzillas. They usually, the bit that bolts to the engine is usually assembled, welded up and painted. I called in a bit of a favour from Jace from Tuffmounts. We've done drag challenge together, separate cars, but we've known each other for a while, and he's helping me out on this project. So just because I wasn't sure how this thing was where it was gonna sit in the chassis, so it was easier if I just grabbed the parts from the kit. It's not something they usually do. I think I've mentioned that before. So I don't call them up saying Phil's got them, so can I have them? It is a personal favour. Thanks, Jace. Much appreciated. So I've got the plate bolted up there. That's a fairly substantial plate. That's 8mm thick, 8mm thick. I've taken the old LS mounts out, and these fit in very nicely in here. So I've just got to do some grinding on put a beveled edge on there, adjust that to suit that angle. So it's pretty straightforward where the tabs are going to mount on the chassis. There's no real guesswork there. I don't have to cut them on any funny angles. So again, I'm going to pull the engine back out. That's part and parcel of doing an engine swap or conversion and new engine mounts, is the engine's got to come in and out about 20 times. It's sitting in the right place at the moment. The angle is not perfect, but it's where I want it to be. I found a few bits that I want to clearance a bit more on the firewall, so I'll lift the engine out, prep the chassis a bit more, the frame where I'm going to weld those tabs, and I'll probably tack them in place. Take a bit more out of the firewall, and then I'll sit the engine back in and work on get that sitting exactly where I need it, and then make up the parts to join the plate on the engine to the bushes on the chassis for the engine mounts. So hopefully the light out here is okay for this. The young guy next door was listening to a bit of bassy music, which just kills the sound on my stuff. But anyway, engine crane's gone. It's now sitting on its mounts. They're all tacked in place, so it's all sitting on the mounts. It's in the right spot. I've double checked everything. We'll just have a quick look. So again, these are the Tuffmounts universal engine mount kit that I managed to get hold of in pieces, and I've added my own bits in there. So a couple of bits of thick wall tube on each side. There's a very large plate that's bolted to the engine because of the bolts basing on the block. There's a lot of room to play with, so I went with the 2 tubes in there. And yeah, these tabs are sitting up, it fits perfectly between the new upright for the suspension and the cross member here. Stuck in quite nicely with that. Even the angle of the cross member matched very well. So I've got the engine, it's hard to pick up on camera, but the engine's dead center of the 2 rails. I've got it sitting back on the 3° down. I've got it sitting back as far as I can while still being able to get these bolts out. That's kind of the benchmark for having access to the back. I think the engine's sitting down reasonably low. Manifold tucks in there, there's plenty of room on this side. I'm going to keep this indent, but I'm going to probably widen it, so I'll slice that side out and move that over, and put a strip down the middle so I can get to bolts and have a bit more room. The steering direct's not sitting in the right place down there at the moment, but the clearance is adequate through here for a steering shaft. And this manifold, no, this manifold's okay. This manifold here, both manifolds we're going to cut the flange off and put a V-band on it, but I'll extend this manifold down and around a little bit with a bit of steam pipe to keep it away from this rail and tuck it in nice. But other than that, all my clearances I'm very happy with. So if it wasn't for the steering rack location, I could lift the center of that cross member up too and get the truck sitting a bit lower, have a bit more clearance. for the 100mm, for the legal ground clearance 100mm between the lowest point of the body, chassis and the ground. Depending on the ride height, where it ends up sitting, and where that steering rack usually sits, there might be modifications later to lift the steering rack. That all comes down to geometry and what I can actually do. I've also trimmed up the some of the edges on the floor pans, so where the factory inspection panel, where that sits on the seam here, I've cut all that away, and now I can see just how close I can get the tunnel to the trans. I want to leave myself a bit of room to play with. There's nothing worse than trying to work on a trans in a small trans tunnel. So I'm going to give myself as much clearance as I can while keeping decent floor room. But it actually looks at the moment like it's going to work out quite nicely with maintaining some kind of factory appearance and giving myself more room. It looks like the trans tunnel will be about 50mm or 2 inches narrower than what it was. Where I've got it sitting now, it's 50mm narrower, so might be able to squeeze a little bit more in. But no, I'm very happy with that. Down here, that's one of the aftermarket floor pans. So that's the Australian passenger side one. That'll be trimmed down because that side's narrower. That'll work out quite nicely. And the other one, I've got an idea for that. So today's main job, I'm going to make up a temporary mount for that trans so I can get the jack out from under it and stop that from moving around. Not that it can go far with the engine mounts now done. These floor sections, I've got them loosely sitting in place. The main bits of the tunnel I cut out. I'll do some more trimming and get those in the right place, and I might tack them in place so I can do some work on the firewall when the engine's out. But that'll give me an idea of what needs to be filled in on the floor, what I need to work with. Yeah, there's a few other areas I need to look at now with the floor, so I've got a few ideas going on. But yeah, I'll do the trans mount, just a temporary little brace, and clean up around those floor bits, pull the engine mounts back out, weld those up properly, and we'll go from there. So while I've got the engine hanging on the crane here, I thought I'd show you some parts that I got in. These are from the Billet Pro Shop over in Canada, from Matt. He's the admin on one of the pages I follow on Facebook for Godzilla guys conversions, that sort of thing. They do a lot of Coyote parts, Billet Coyote parts for conversions, and they've started knocking out stuff for the Godzilla. So I think the Coyote's got something similar. Big oil cooler hanging on the side. Fine in trucks. Not a big requirement for my kind of application. And they've got a solution for, like, if you've got tight room and you just don't want to use it. They've got this billet block here. There's another part that screws into this hole here, so when you take this off, there's a pipe that goes into one of the oil feeds, and this takes its place. So if you can see the difference in size in that thing, so it's quite compact and slim, and it looks really nice. So if you're using the factory pan in your conversion, or you just want to clean up in your truck, whatever you're doing, this part, Billet Pro Shop, it's a very nice piece. And it also has the has a large port on the end there, which comes with a plug for oil feeds. So you can put a sensor in there, you can put feed for turbos, any of that sort of thing. But yeah, beautifully made. This was actually a the advertiser on the page as it was used in a display engine, so there's no blemishes or anything like that, but because it was used in the display engine, it was a bit of a discount, so I snapped that up. They also had billet valve covers, but with the conversion rate at the moment, even with the substantial discount, I figured the engine, the money spent on those is probably better spent somewhere else, like Australians. So I've got that, but there's also, in the same deal he was doing, it's a Billet Pro Shop. This is again, billet alloy. I won't take it out of the pack just yet because I'm not using it just yet and I don't want to damage it. Pair of O-rings. So there's a coolant up there. There's a coolant outlet on the block, which when you're doing conversion you don't use it. I mean, you could probably use it for a heater or something like that, but most people don't use it. So convenient plug, plugs that up, matches the Billet oil cooler delete. And also this piece here, O-ring plug, converts to an AN-12 AN. That is for that water neck there in the block. How it bolts in, so that gets rid of that big ugly pipe and converts it to a nice -12 AN fitting, so you could have a nice black 90 degree AN fitting out of there. So those parts were actually, even normal retail was very inexpensive. Very nice pieces. So thanks Matt for sorting that and getting those to me quick as. I won't put the delete on, the oil cooler delete on just yet, just because I don't want to scratch or anything while I'm doing fabrication work. But I thought I'd show you guys while it's out. I finished welding up the stands for the engine mounts on the chassis there. Fairly basic, just the tabs and a couple of little braces through the middle. You can see how much I've moved the tunnel over. It's a bit more apparent there. You can sort of see underneath. This side's moved about, I think it was 75 mil, somewhere around there, maybe a touch more. It's narrowed the tunnel up around 50 mil. Still a lot of patchwork to do there, a lot of filling, but I've also got to move the side of the that indent in the firewall's got to be moved over to match the that section of the firewall there. So, and that'll give me a bit of room behind the engine as well. As for the floor inside the cab, it's not looking much different after today. I didn't really get a chance to do much to it, but that's pretty much where that's going to end up. Once I've moved the hump in the firewall, then I can start on that section of the floor. I didn't plan on cutting these floor pans out today, but I've got a brace across the cab before I cut too much more out, just in case. I think it'll be fine, but it's a just in case thing. So yeah, if I'm not back by before then doing this again, have a good safe Christmas, keep out of trouble, get lots done on your cars, spend lots of time with your families. If you're bored, go check out my Instagram, fat_383. I'll put that here somewhere. Billet Pro Shop, go have a look at their guys' stuff, order some stuff from them. Yeah, just spend time with people you love and do cool stuff. It's not what I want to be doing, but anyway. But yeah, stay safe, and I will see you guys sometime. Also, do the like, subscribe thing as well, please. Cheers, guys.